Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Wilted Lavender Lily. Am I the asshole? A prior tenant keeps showing up to my home, banging on the door and honking. I just moved to a new rental home about a month ago. Ever since, I've been getting a significant amount of junk mail and bills addressed to the prior tenant. I did the right thing, wrote "Return to sender, not at this address," on each envelope and put them in the mailbox with the flag up. But the mail keeps coming. About 2 weeks ago, a woman drove aggressively into my driveway, honking. I work from home and my office window faces the road. I keep the blinds open, so I clearly saw a lady in her car waving at me with a huge cast on her wrist. She wouldn't get out, so for safety, I started recording and hid from view. I don't trust anyone. Sorry. She eventually left. Next day, same thing. Pulled in, honked, waved, I hit again. She screamed, "I want my mail!" Sorry, I don't know you. I'm a female, alone in a new area. This could easily be a trap. When I left, I noticed a package I was expecting was missing. I called non-emergency dispatch, told them what happened, described her in the car, and then my package was gone. They said they sent an officer. About 20 minutes later, a cop and the lady showed up. Small town, so they found her fast. The officer acted as a neutral party while she explained that she uses informed delivery. Saw my name, found me on Facebook, and messaged me a nonsense request to get her mail. It was marked as spam, so I never saw it. I told her any mail not mine is marked and returned. I even taped a note to my door saying the same. She claims she didn't take the package, and it still hasn't shown up. I told her she scared me. And she said she only honked because she was scared of my dog, a 10-pound chihuahua. Things calmed down, and they left. Side note, this is a huge privacy violation. She still has informed delivery here and found me on Facebook, which makes me uncomfortable. I contacted the post office and requested they stop her informed delivery access for this address. I thought it was over after the police visit, but yesterday, she came back in a different vehicle, pulled in aggressively, honked, rang the doorbell 3 times, and banged on the door. I didn't answer and hit again. She left quickly. Am I the asshole for ignoring her, not giving her the mail, not responding to her on Facebook, and calling the police? I'm not collecting her junk mail like a free P.O. box. I also found out she was evicted, had lots of people at the house, and treated the place horribly. I saw the condition when I toured. Filthy. I, for one, am now objectively horrified by the fact that USPS informed delivery will continue to send you information of the mail incoming to an address you no longer live at. That makes me horrified for my privacy, and honestly, makes me extremely spooked that prior tenants might know exactly what kind of mail I've been getting. That is not a fun thought. Honestly, I'm surprised the officer also didn't inform her to do a USPS change of address request, where they'll simply make sure all mail gets forwarded to the proper address, and letting anyone sending mail to the wrong address know that you've changed your address. Anytime you move, definitely make sure that you do that. It's also great for documentation when you need to change your license or when you're moving to a new state, just because it makes paperwork a bit easier, especially at the DMV. But yeah, it's not OP's responsibility to essentially do their adulting for the person that's coming up to their home and honking and just being annoying as hell. I'd recommend getting like a Ring doorbell camera or a Blink camera or just something so you can keep track of it. Collect enough evidence that this shit continues, and then eventually just file either a police report or a request for a TRO. Just that way she'll knock it the hell off, because this is creepy. I mean, her using informed delivery to find your name and then going onto your Facebook and taking that approach, that's just yikes, dog. That's icky. That's super uncomfortable. Lazara. Am I the asshole for suing my now former friend? I, 28 female, am filing this week to sue my now ex-friend Veronica, 24 female. About 7 months ago, Veronica asked me to move in with my now boyfriend, who owns a 5-bed, 3-bathroom house. We've known each other for a few years and had grown close. She even introduced herself to others as my BFF. My boyfriend has rented out rooms before, and since we had a vacancy, we agreed to let her move in. There was no written lease, but we agreed via text that she'd pay $800 a month, utilities included, for a bedroom and private bath. Since she didn't have a job when she moved in, my boyfriend allowed her to delay the first payment. But over 6 months, she cycled through 7 jobs, quitting each one for vague reasons like bad vibes. She made only one partial payment the entire time. Despite claiming she had no money, she was frequently going out, getting 90-minute massages, and taking long trips to meet up with men. We had a 3-week Europe trip planned for years, and Veronica offered to care for my pets while we were away, despite me originally going to hire a pet sitter. I'm a zookeeper and take pet care seriously. I left clear instructions, supplies, and $100 cash for reptile food, asking her to keep receipts. She sent regular updates while we were gone, making it seem like everything was fine. But when we got back at 3 a.m., I was devastated. All my reptiles had no water. Most of my fish were dead. The tank was filthy and overfed, and many supplies were missing/depleted. I messaged her, upset but not rude, asking what happened. She responded defensively, saying I should be grateful and claimed she did a better job than anyone I would have paid. When I told her I spent 5+ hours cleaning and over $300 replacing things, she brushed it off, offering only to go to the store to replace the fish. She also only used about $40 of the $100 I gave her and never paid me back or replaced my fish. After that, she avoided me completely, only coming home late at night to stay in her room. Then one day, I came home from work to find she had moved out without saying anything to me or my boyfriend. She blocked me on all social media. We were shocked, but let it go. Until I got a call from a friend who had only met her once, saying Veronica had messaged him and my manager long rants calling me evil and saying she saw the light and needed to cut me off. I'm 4 months pregnant, and she even told my friend I should get an abortion. At that point, my boyfriend and I decided to sue her for the $4,800 in unpaid rent plus damages to the room/bathroom. Most of our friends agree it's fair, but some think we're in the wrong since we were going to drop it until she started bad-mouthing me and because she's struggling financially. So, am I the asshole? Yeah, if she's gonna leave her room and bathroom in disarray with hundreds of dollars worth of damages, never paid barely any rent besides half a month by the sounds of it, killed off some of your pets, left your reptiles severely dehydrated, and you were nice enough to let sleeping dogs lie. Until she started going around telling everyone that you were horrible, evil, even contacting your manager. That's malice. She fucked around, and now she's finding out. My only concern would be is whether or not there was any kind of contract or agreement signed between you two, between both parties, because that might make things a bit more difficult. But in the future, if you're ever going to do something to help someone out, get a contract in place or something in writing just to make sure they don't end up pulling the rug out from under you and running away. That's the last thing you need when trying to be generous to someone. But yeah, not the asshole. Veronica fucked around, Veronica's finding out. Hit ever. Am I the asshole for wanting my sister to learn about consequences? Reddit has deemed this person the asshole, and we'll get into that. Hello, I, male 22, have been driving my sister, female 24, who doesn't want to drive because she doesn't need it, almost everywhere thus far. Whenever she needs something, she will always let me a maximum of 2 days prior, even when she herself has known it for much longer. Some rides only take about 40 minutes total, but others take up at least 6 hours of my day. I usually try to make it work because she's my sister. The big problem for me is that she is always late. Whenever we settle on a time, she always ends up being late. I always set her a reminder at the day itself when I'll be there and even call her 5 minutes before arriving. Despite that, she is always late. At the last instance, earlier this week, I told her that my girlfriend had a pretty important meeting, so we were tight on time. Despite mentioning it, she still ended up being late. Tonight, she messaged me again, asking if she could drive along to the family gathering next week. I told her that it's fine, as long as she's on time. She responded saying that I always mention it, and I don't have to waste my energy sending a message because she'll be on time, as she always says. The way she told me that made me feel like I was just some better public transport for her. And to help her view, I told her that if she is late, I'll leave without her this time. Am I the asshole for planning on going to the gathering without her if she's late? So, I walked into this wondering why there was the asshole tag and kinda hoping there would be some interesting twist. But no, this is a pretty reasonable circumstance to be in. So I scrolled down to the comments. And I could only find one "you're the asshole" comment that just apparently happened to make it to the top. And it states, as follows from Select Anxiety 1557, "You're the asshole to continue giving in and putting yourself in this position. Grow a spine and say no to her." What the fuck is this? Like, literally every other fucking comment is literally just not the asshole, but you should probably stop doing this. Like, almost, like, there is not a single other "you're the asshole" comment that I can find just by scrolling down. I don't... Why is this the one that caused the bot to just label this as an asshole post? Like, fuck this logic, by the way. Yeah, your husband might be abusing the shit out of you, but you're actually the asshole by sticking around and letting him continue to do that to you. Grow a spine and do better. Like, that kind of fucking logic is ridiculous. My biggest recommendation to OP is just tell her to start using Uber or Lyft and that you're done being her personal chauffeur. The generosity of family can only go so far, and she's just using you as a free ride service. So yeah, don't be afraid to draw a line with that. But that doesn't make you the asshole because you've been kind to your sister for the past couple of years. In my opinion, OP's not the asshole, and the only thing they're guilty of is being too kind to their sister. Ancient Sock 2112. Am I the asshole for telling my sister to take accountability or leave me alone? 1 year ago, I, 30 female, received a panic call from my sister Sally, 35 female, because my parents' house was going into foreclosure. My parents had stopped living in that house in 2014 and let my oldest sister Anne, 40 female, and her family live there, with the understanding that she would pay the mortgage. My parents are immigrants and had called Sally because they did not understand the letter they received. Sally learned that the mortgage had not been paid in over 6 months, and they had sent multiple letters to the home that Anne lived in. By the time Sally was involved, she only has a few days left to pay the debt. I live in a different state over 1,000 miles away, and Sally called me because the mortgage company had offices in my state, but not theirs. I was on standby in case her latest payment did not go through, so that I could pay the debt myself in person. Eventually, her wire transfer was accepted and the crisis was averted. When my parents and Sally finally confronted Anne, she claimed that the bank had lost the payments but refused to show any sort of statements to back up her claims. Some harsh words were said, but my parents decided to let it go in the name of peace. Anne ended up moving out, but blamed Sally for getting involved when it wasn't her business. Months pass, and I decided to use the holiday travel for baby showers as this was my first pregnancy. Sally offered to throw me the baby shower at her home. Anne never showed up and gave different excuses to different people. A few weeks later, I get a voice note from Anne crying, saying she couldn't come to my party because she couldn't imagine being in Sally's home after what she did to her, and to reach out to her when I was ready. Heavily pregnant and hormonal, I was upset she would try to blame someone else, and that she was putting the responsibility of a relationship on me while dealing with a difficult pregnancy. So I didn't respond for over 6 months. In that time, Anne has sent random posts from social media as if everything is fine. I finally got fed up today and responded to a message saying she could take accountability for taking advantage of her family, or no longer have a relationship with me. Am I the asshole for bringing up the conflict with my parents, or should I stay out of it? Sounds like your eldest sister is lucky to have a family that cares, but honestly, if she's weaponizing the fact that the family got involved in her business and trying to put that on you, then yeah, it's totally fair for you to snap the way you have. Hormones or not. Like, to me, it sounds like she's actively trying to leverage relationships while not taking any kind of accountability for her own actions. I mean, in the end, her family bailed her out and she feels like they overstepped. Like, to me, it sounds like the only people who were taking the foreclosure seriously were the parents, your other sister, and yourself. It seems like Anne didn't give a shit about the fact that her home was entering foreclosure, and is even upset by the fact that you all stepped in to help her, and only wants to make up excuses or lies and giving everyone different reasons or tales of the events that occurred, but won't take accountability. So yeah, not the asshole for snapping at her. I think she actually probably deserves it. Kel Raven. Am I the asshole for ignoring a manager's texts, and would I be the asshole for blocking his number? Me, 26 female, and my brother Mike, 24 male, work in different areas of the same company. Each area has its own manager. My manager is great, respectful of my time and boundaries. Mike's manager, Gary, around 45 to 50 male, is not. He's a fun, slightly ditzy guy, but he has a habit of texting me when he needs Mike to cover shifts. This started years ago when Mike turned off notifications for our work app and rarely answered calls. Since I'm on my phone a lot and my brother is chronically offline, Gary started messaging me instead. Mike had to leave during COVID for family reasons, came back later, and had to fight for a wage still lower than his coworkers. He's also the only one in his area who knows how to do everything and ends up stuck with the worst shifts. Eventually, he told management he'd quit unless he got a raise and a more consistent schedule. Mike asked not to be messaged about extra shifts, saying they could talk to him in person due to anxiety. They agreed. He got a raise, 50 cents less than what he asked for, but stayed because they initially respected the new schedule. That lasted 2 weeks. Then Gary started asking me again. And here's the kicker. Since the rehire, Gary always messages me first and only me, clearly assuming I'll pass the message along in person since Mike doesn't check his phone. I get that now, hearing about the anxiety conversation they had, but it's so annoying. I've told my coworkers and Gary himself that I hate being the middleman. I'm not Mike's assistant. But yesterday, while I was working, Gary texted, "Can Mike work this weekend?" I said I'd pass it along, assuming he'd messaged Mike too. Then today, "So can he work?" I've ignored that message so far because I'm not even scheduled until next week. What really got me was when Gary messaged me while I was on vacation 2 months ago, literally at the airport, asking about Mike. I looked back through our texts, and since Mike's rehire, every message conversation started by Gary has been about Mike. So yes, Mike should probably just quit, but am I the asshole for ignoring Gary? And would I be the asshole if I blocked Gary's number? I've already told him directly I'm not his messenger. I don't think quoting Hermione Granger at this point, "I'm not a bloody owl," would work either. Honestly, I would either block or ignore him or just simply text him like, "From here on out, please contact Mike about this. I don't have an answer for you," and then just stop responding. Like, this isn't part of your job. He's not even your manager. And honestly, what is he gonna do? Report you for this? Hey, despite what Mike said about confronting him directly about any schedule changes, I've been texting his sister who works in a different department to, handle the whole operation, and now she won't respond to me. That's not gonna look good on him, so he's not gonna do shit about it. So I 100% wouldn't hesitate to just simply draw the line in the sand and let him know directly that you're not your brother's keeper. This is something that you are not in control of. If he wants a direct answer, he should be asking Mike, not you. So yeah, not the asshole and would not be the asshole. Lowbag 308. Am I the asshole for asking why they ignored the no dog sign? I, 33 male, went to a coffee shop this past weekend. As soon as I opened the door, I'm hit with a dog looking at me at hip level, sitting in a chair in the small shop. The dog is indoors, and the door had a clear no pet sign. I watched for a second. This clearly wasn't a service animal, as she was letting it interact with several other guests. I asked her why she ignored the no pet sign. She ignores me. I asked her, "Did you miss the no pet sign?" She immediately says, "I think you should stop harassing me." All I was doing was asking why she ignored the no pet sign. This lady played the victim and called me an asshole. Another patron steps up for her and the dude says, "Why is it an issue? Who cares?" Tells me, "Don't be an asshole and drop it." I wave the guy off, tell him I care and I don't like dogs. I say it's not hard to not bring your dog to a coffee shop that doesn't allow dogs. By that point, it's my time to order. I complained to the employee who didn't seem interested in enforcing anything. The owner left on her own. Am I the asshole? So for this one, I opted to round up a ton of comments because Reddit's divided between not the asshole, everyone sucks here, and a few you're the assholes. Starting with Imaginary Reward 2734, I'm going against the grain and will probably be downvoted, but mostly not the asshole. The way you asked her why repeatedly was weird. She's not going to have an answer or respond well to that. But you weren't wrong for calling her out for having a dog in a restaurant that clearly doesn't allow them. I'd personally have asked for the manager and pushed them to do something. I say this as a huge animal person. It's outrageous how many pet owners feel entitled to ignore rules because they think their pet is special. I love dogs, but I don't want to find dog hair in my tea. A lot of people specifically go places with animal restrictions because they don't want to deal with animals in their space. Also, it's usually illegal to have non-service animals inside establishments that serve food or drinks due to health codes, depending on your country. User main demand 7629 comments, "Not the asshole. It's illegal to have pets inside an establishment that serves food unless certified trained service dog. That's why the sign is on the door. The ramifications are that the health department shuts down the business. However, because of entitled customers, many businesses, and certainly the hourly workers, unless explicitly instructed, will enforce it." I don't think asking the question was wrong. She clearly tried to dodge your initial outreach by ignoring and thinking you would be too meek to ask again, but it's also going to likely bring up the "why don't you mind your own business because I say so" type of unhelpful confrontation. That doesn't help solve the problem. I have mild dog allergies, and usually when confronted with a dog inside, especially small establishments, start feeling my eyes well and my nose getting itchy/sneezy. I will sometimes leave, but if I'm especially irritated that I'm forced to leave and not the dog and entitled owner in an establishment for human food and drink, I exaggerate the response and cough and loudly exclaim about my dog allergies, and wow, they're acting up because a dog is inside. But they're not legally allowed? I'll have to check with the city health services to make sure I understood correctly. Maybe take a few photos for the regulator's reference. Honestly, 75% of the time the dog owner leaves quite quickly, looking chagrined. User Big Shot 33. Everyone sucks here. It's not your civil duty to protect a company or spout the rules. You could have quietly brought it up to someone at the register or find the manager. The lady also sucks because clearly she thinks the rules aren't meant for her. A lot of dog owners act this way and I don't get it. Sorry, but they don't belong in grocery stores. And it's sad, I'm done responding to people who think it's okay their dog needs to be at their hip 24/7. Just got home from Walmart and I counted 5 dogs in the 2 hours I was there. None of them were service animals. I'm legitimately glad there are responsible pet owners who don't think that. Here's a cookie for you. Blast me all you want. I'm entitled to my opinion, and all of you who have called me names, blocked me, and tried to insult me for my opinion have proven why the dog culture is so toxic. Pumpkin Bubbles. You're the asshole. You're not an employee, the shop owner, or an official health inspector, so it wasn't your place to question the customer. Rules and practices vary in many places and situations. If you don't like the way one business is run, you're free to go to another. Approaching a woman you don't know and trying to exert authority you don't have is creepy. Escalating to the point that a bystander interceded indicates that you came off as aggressive and or unhinged. Quiet little lamb comments. As a person with pet allergies and who has had to leave restaurants because I would start uncontrollably sneezing because someone else brought their pet, not the asshole. I don't care if you screamed in the person's face at the top of your lungs, LMFAO! They need to consider all the health issues and find solutions if they can't go anywhere without dogs or go to restaurants where they're exclusive to that. Nasne die gone yet. I don't even know. One comment is fine if you feel you must. Pushing the issue is not. You made a scene, which is also unwelcome in all public spaces. I know you made a scene because a third party got involved and chose sides and you waved them off and continue to make your scene. Then you continue your momentum to incite a fourth party, staff, to get her. Now, here you are, trying to incite more people. Yikes. I get not liking dogs. Lots of people don't like dogs or don't like dogs in their personal space. Maybe that dog was your actual nemesis. But surely you see that everyone sucks here. User Jeepers Creepers 74. Everyone sucks here. Dog owner obviously thinks the rules of the world don't apply to her. I love my dogs, but not everyone should be forced to eat and drink in their presence if they don't want to. That said, you're the pet police. You should have left it to the business to enforce its own rules. Anytime you're having to draw conclusions whether someone is using a service dog, has a reason to park in the handicap spot, sit in the reserved seating on the bus, etc., the best choice is to not draw conclusions at all and just move on with your life. So, with all those being said, how do you all feel? Personally, I landed the boat of not the asshole, maybe a bit of everyone sucks here because he was being a bit pushy to the point where a third party had to get involved. However, I kind of see that as being a bit of white knighting, so I'm not as, quick to jump to that conclusion. I do, however, no matter what, think the person who brought their dog into the establishment when there's a no pet sign is the asshole. I guess the question just comes down to is how much of it goes to OP. So I'd be curious what you all think on this one, especially with all the Reddit comments there. AKA Ruth. Am I the asshole for being rude to the waiter and ruining the dinner? I, 27 female, went out on a girls' dinner with my best friends, 26 female and 29 female. For context, I'm the only one married. They are not in any committed relationships. Yesterday, we went to have dinner at a sports bar/family restaurant where, from the moment we arrived, the waiter, male, early mid-20s, started complimenting us. He kept saying flirty/funny things. I ignored him, but honestly gave me such an ick. They were giggling, and after a while, as he took our order and kept refilling our drinks, he kept saying stuff like that, and I did a sarcastic laugh, picture that one meme of the dude laughing and getting serious. He left the table and didn't do it again. My friends later told me I was rude to him, and that he was just doing his job, but oh my god, it was ruining my afternoon. But now I'm wondering if I should have just kept quiet. Am I the asshole? Edit to add, here are some examples of what he said. When he first set us down, he was like, I didn't know models were coming today. And when refilling our drinks, he said, I might have put a little special something on the drinks to get this party started. And when he went to check on us, he was like, how are you cuties enjoying the food? He saw 29 female teary-eyed because she was talking about her recent breakup, and he was like, don't cry for me, I'll be right back. She didn't laugh that time. I'm sorry, did your waiter just make a roofie joke? Like, is that what that joke was supposed to be? I might have put a little special something on the drinks to get this party started. Either way, he's joking about tampering with your drinks. Like, that's gross, that's fucked up, that's unacceptable. And I don't think management would be happy to find out that one of their waitstaff was actively making jokes about tampering with their clients' drinks. That's unacceptable and just revolting. The only thing that I can think about to make this even remotely acceptable is that he's joking about adding an additional splash of alcohol in there or something along those lines. And perhaps OP is purposely trying to misinterpret it in the edit just to make it sound even worse than it actually was. If it wasn't for that one comment, I maybe would have leaned more towards like, no assholes here, but you should probably just let your friends have their fun and just enjoy the time. Maybe, because OP has the right to feel uncomfortable with someone flirting with her, like without a doubt. But if her friends are enjoying the time, then maybe allow them to enjoy that time. Personally, I'd be really interested to hear a female perspective on this one. But also, if he's making jokes about tampering with their drinks, that's unacceptable, and your reaction is entirely justified, if that is actually the joke he made. I do see a lot of comments in the comment section talking about how, if OP was in this situation and then went to Am I the Asshole to post, why didn't they lead with the fact that the server joked about putting something into their drink, and left that to be an edit after everyone was calling them the asshole? So there's some speculation there if that actually happened or not, or if OP just simply added that to try to change the narrative up a little bit. I could also 100% see this being a scenario where OP wanted to be as vague as possible because they were uncomfortable with the events that happened, and then only decided to give those details because everyone was flaming them in the comments. If I am taking OP's words at face value, not the asshole. But I'd also be curious to see some speculation in the comments on how you all feel about this one, because the comments on the Reddit section are definitely all over the goddamn place, most of them being you're the assholes, and a decent amount of them being, I would have said you're the asshole, but after the comment about tampering with your drinks, I've changed my mind. So I'd be curious to hear some additional stuff in the YouTube comments, because you guys are more usually level-headed than Reddit. Fluid Experience 866. Am I the asshole for telling my friend she's in the same league as men she calls ugly? My friend, 19 female, downloaded dating apps like Tinder and Hinge for the first time about a week ago. For reference, she's the type that always says she wants a boyfriend, wants to do couple things, feels lonely single, etc. She's also, in my opinion at least, very normal and average looks-wise. Not ugly, not super hot, just alright. Since then, she's been complaining to me that almost all the men there are ugly, short, etc., and that she doesn't match with anybody hot. I asked to see which people she was calling ugly, and she showed me her likes. And it mostly showed people perfectly in her league, as in moderately attractive guys. I told her that these guys were in her league, and she should give some of them a chance since she always complains about wanting to be in a relationship. She denied that she's the same league as them and said that she's much more attractive than them. I pointed out that in her own words, she doesn't match with any of the guys she does find attractive, so she's not in their league. She said I was an asshole. Am I? So, additional context, OP is a guy. That might change things a bit, but I'm not sure. Reddit deemed this to be everyone sucks here, and in my opinion, I can kind of see it, but I'm leaning more towards not the asshole because OP's friend was the one being shallow first. I know that if the roles were reversed and if this was a guy going through Tinder and calling a bunch of girls ugly that were, within his same league, I'd probably think he's definitely being shallow and kinda look down on him a little bit. I'd be curious from you all to hear what you think. Is this kind of like a everyone sucks here, OP should have been more tact about it, or is this a not the asshole, your friend's being shallow and you just put them in their place with some tough love? Or perhaps they're just the asshole and are just totally out of line. I'd be really curious on this one to hear what you have to think. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.